Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics on Channels Television. I'm Millicent Walker. On the news this hour, it's 48 hours to the supplementary elections in about 5 states of the Federation where elections were inconclusive. What about the preparations? We'll find out. 47 political parties in Imo State have vowed to seek redress in court over the declaration of the PDP governorship candidates Emeka Ihedioha as the winner of the March 9th governorship election in Imo State. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, INEC, is prosecuting an alleged vote buyer over claims that he conspired with another suspect at large to provide 120,000 naira to influence voters during the last governorship election in Ilorin. Welcome everyone to the program. Now let's start off with the proceedings at the Code of Conduct Tribunal in the case involving the suspended Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onnoghen. But it appears the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, Mr. Umar Danladi, is very upset, and this is targeted at journalists. He threatened to send a journalist to prison for what he alleged as misrepresentation of the tribunal's proceedings at the last sitting. In the meantime, the second prosecution witness, Mr. Awaye Kasai, a former director in charge of political office of the Code of Conduct Bureau, is giving his testimony on behalf of the federal government. Mr. Yakasi told the tribunal that he was the one who attended to Justice Onnoghen when he submitted 2 of his asset declaration forms, and that he received the forms and signed on them, and also provided his representative with 2 acknowledgement slips for receiving the forms. Well, the parties in the case over the Bauchi governorship supplementary elections are back in court after the case was adjourned till today. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja says it will commence hearing today on the objection of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to the order of Justice Inyang Eko, which on Tuesday restrained it from going ahead with collating, concluding and announcing the governorship election result of Bauchi State. Justice Eko had on Tuesday stopped INEC from taking further action in matters relating to the governorship election conducted in Bauchi on March 9th, 2019, until the hearing of the substantive suit. Contrary to the claim of the All Progressives Congress and the incumbent governor of Bauchi State, Muhammad Abubakar, that INEC cannot continue with collation results, the counter affidavit stated that INEC's position to continue with collation of results was made based on the figures contained in the duplicates of the election results. Well, INEC said that although the governorship election in Bauchi State was declared inconclusive, it however rescinded its decision based on facts that emerged later and made a return, adding that any grievance arising from that return rests with the Election Petition Tribunal. Justice Eko is, in his bench, ruled fixed for today, the 21st of March, for hearing of all the issues relating to the Bauchi governorship tussle. On Saturday, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, will conduct supplementary elections in about 5 states of the Federation where elections were declared inconclusive. Today, the chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, is expected to address the media on preparations and latest developments ahead of Saturday. There have been series of court cases and uncertainties hanging over the exercise, especially in Bauchi, Adamawa, and also in River State where elections were suspended. The Commission is challenging the move by one of the parties in Bauchi to stop it from going ahead with steps to conclude the elections there. All we know, security is one major aspect of the exercise on Saturday, and which of course has raised a lot of eyebrows in what was done or those things that were not done. But let's speak to our guest, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, I believe DIG Operations, from our Abuja studios on insights on preparations ahead of Saturday. We'd like to thank you so much for joining us on the program, and good to see you, sir, and ask I mean, ahead of Saturday, we know that the president met with security chiefs in a closed-door meeting, and a lot of people are wondering if that meeting had anything to do with Saturday's polls. What can you tell us?
Well, thank you very much. I want to inform you that a series of meetings have been going on, and we'll get a sensitization meeting as well for our senior officers. The security of those states in which was mentioned have been perfected, and all hands are on deck now to ensure that we provide an enabling environment for the parties to operate.
There have been perhaps what some would call allegations of police officers, security agents, the role they played in the last elections. What are you doing? What is your office doing to correct this, especially for Saturday as well?
Well, I mean, I've been talked to, and for this exercise, as usual, we have senior police officers being sent to supervise the election. As usual, the deputy inspector generals have been sent to various zones, particularly the 6 states or 5 states where this election will take place. And again, senior police officers, the commissioner of police, were also deployed to man most of these areas, particularly the local governments in which this election will take place. Our men have been briefed, our men have been warned, and again, we continue. We have talked to them much enough. I assure you that this time around, I will never find any of mine want to. At this, I have rest assured that the election will put those on free and fair and credible.
We've also been told that the police is the lead agency when it comes to elections, and INEC is working closely with you, but also working with other security agencies, the armed forces. And we also learned that with regards to election materials, the Air Force plans to convey materials for the supplementary elections. Can you explain that?
I mean, the electoral materials?
Yes.
It is our duty. It is our duty to provide security for the electoral materials. It is our responsibility to protect the staff of the INEC as well as the hardcore staff. And this has been done. And this is what we have been doing, and this will continue to do. And we'll definitely do it very well.
All right, we would like to thank you so much, Abdul Majid Ali, DIG Operations, the Abuja Studios. Thank you for joining us on the program. Let's take you to Kano State. It's one of the states where the supplementary elections will be conducted on Saturday, but the political horse trading to cash in on the votes in contention has been quite intense. The frontline parties, the APC and PDP, have been showing off their strength and are optimistic about the conclusion of the election. Now, the PDP in Kano has been speaking on Saturday's election and definitely have their eyes on the polls.
All right. And also supervisors that will monitor the election in all the affected areas. And also, we are ready in terms of all the preparations, and we are also ready to follow all the guidelines set out by the INEC. We will try as much as possible to monitor the activities of the security agencies and report them where we feel that they are not doing what they're supposed to do. Well, we are very optimistic of winning this election because we are already leading with over 26,000 votes. And then the affected areas, you understand, is most of them are our strongholds. So winning the election is not our problem. We will win this election.
Speaking with a lot of optimism there. But INEC in Kano State will be addressing the press conference this afternoon on preparations for Saturday. Our correspondent Idris Jibrin, he's there at the head office to give perhaps the latest on the issues in Kano. Thank you, Idris, for joining us. Tell us, how are preparations ongoing towards Saturday?
Well, thank you very much, Millicent. Like you heard from the PDP spokesperson, The most important thing for the supplementary election is peaceful conduct of the process. And right now we are at the INEC headquarters here in Kano, and we will be speaking with the INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner in Kano, Professor Rizkwa Shehu, who will be telling us their level of preparedness ahead of the supplementary election come Saturday. Professor Rizkwa Shehu, thank you very much for joining us on Channel
Thank you very much.
Television.
Thank you.
Sir,
it's a pleasure to have you.
Can you tell us how prepared are you for the supplementary election on Saturday?
Well, like you have heard the state collation officer, we could not conclude the election for the governorship, and therefore supplementary election became necessary. And we gave a press release in that respect as to why it was inconclusive. 29 local governments are going to be affected for this supplementary election, where votes cancelled were as a result of violence or overvoting. And we have 76 registration areas with 208 polling units. The total number of registered voters in these polling units is 128,831. We have received the materials for these supplementary elections yesterday, and we have prepared for the distribution, which will commence tomorrow morning at the office here.
So how do you intend to distribute these materials, especially talking about security and looking at the experience you had leading to the declaration of the result as inconclusive?
Well, we have made adequate arrangements for security escort to all the relevant local governments, as well as the registration areas and the polling units. They will be here. The party agents will also be here to take note of the materials we are deploying to these affected areas where supplementary elections will be carried out.
Now, what do you expect from the security agencies in terms of ensuring peaceful conduct of this supplementary election? What have you prepared?
Well, we had a meeting yesterday of the Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, and we reviewed the deployment of the security personnel. And the Commissioner of Police, together with the other leaders of the security agencies, renewed their commitment to ensuring that this election will be conducted in a peaceful atmosphere, and Kano citizens will be allowed to freely come out and exercise their civic responsibility. We do not anticipate any problem on the parts of the security agencies.
Thank you very much, sir, for talking to us. There you are, Millicent. That's the REC, the Resident Electoral Commissioner here in Kano, speaking to us on their preparation. So let's get back to you in the studio for the rest of the program.
All right, many thanks, Idris Jibrin, there with the latest from Metropolis to Kano. We'll be keeping our eyes on some of the states where supplementary elections will be taking place on Saturday. Also, one of the states that a lot of people's eyes are on is River State. Now, the judge, in the eye of the PDP storm, they refused to stop the collation of results in River State, the governorship and House of Assembly election conducted on the 9th of March 2019. We hear Justice Inyang Eko of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja dismissed the application brought before him by the governorship candidate of the African Action Congress, Mr. Awara, seeking to stop the exercise. In an ex parte application moved in the court, the plaintiffs prayed for an order to stop INEC from going ahead with the collation. But after listening to the submission, Justice Eko chose not to grant their prayers and instead ordered them to put the respondents on notice on the suit and fixed the 25th of March for hearing. Well, still to come on the program, the EFCC, they have dragged a man accused of buying votes in Kwara State to court. We'll bring you details in a moment.